I am seated in an office, surrounded by heads and bodies. I read, I say. I study and read. I bet I've read everything you've read. Don't think I haven't. I consume libraries. I wear out spines and ROM drives. I do things like get in a taxi and say, the library, and step on it. My instincts concerning syntax and mechanics are better than your own, I can tell, with due respect. Here's Hal Incandenza, age 17, with his little brass one-hitter, getting covertly high in the Infield Tennis Academy's underground pump room and exhaling palely into an industrial exhaust fan. Hal is by himself down here, and nobody knows where he is or what he's doing. Hal likes to get high in secret, but a bigger secret is that he's as attached to the secrecy as he is to getting high. Hal himself hasn't had a bona fide intensity of interior life type emotion since he was tiny. He finds terms like joie and value to be like so many variables in rarefied equations, and he can manipulate them well enough to satisfy everyone but himself that he's in there, inside his own hull, as a human being. But in fact, he's far more robotic than John Wayne. One of his troubles with his moms is the fact that Avril Incandenza believes she knows him inside and out as a human being, and an internally worthy one at that, when in fact, inside Hal, there's pretty much nothing at all he knows. His mom's Avril hears her own echoes inside him and thinks what she hears is him, and this makes Hal feel the one thing he feels to the limit lately. He's lonely. Son, you're 10, and this is hard news for somebody 10, even if you're almost 5'11", a possible pituitary freak. Son, you're a body, son. That quick little scientific prodigy's mind she's so proud of and won't quit twittering about. Son, it's just neural spasms. Those thoughts in your mind are just the sound of your head revving. And head is still just body, Jim. Commit this to memory. Head is body. Jim, brace yourself against my shoulders here for this hard news. At 10, you're a machine, a body, an object, Jim. No less than this rutilant Montclair, this coil of hose here, or that rake there for the front yard's gravel, or, sweet Jesus, this nasty fat spider, flexing in its web over there up next to the rake handle. See it? See it? Lactrodectus mactans, Jim. Widow. Grab this racket and move gracefully and feelingly over there and kill that widow for me, young Sir Jim. Go on. Make it say K. Take no names. There's a lad. Here's to a spiderless section of communal garage. Ah, bodies everywhere. The tall, ungainly, socially challenged, and hard-drinking Dr. Incandenza's May to December 25th marriage to one of the few bona fide bombshell-type females in North American academia, the extremely tall and high-strung, but also extremely pretty and gainly and teetotaling and classy Dr. Avril Mondragon, the only female academic ever to hold the MacDonald Chair in Prescriptive Usage at the Royal Victoria College of McGill University, whom Incandenza met at a University of Toronto conference on reflective versus reflexive systems, was rendered even more romantic by the bureaucratic tribulations involved in obtaining an exit and then an entrance visa, to say nothing of a green card, for even a U.S.-spoused Professor Mondragon, whose involvement, however demonstrably nonviolent, with certain members of the Quebecois separatist left while in graduate school, had placed her name on the RCMP's notorious Personne à qui elle doit s'éveiller attentivement list. The birth of the Incandenza's first child, Oren, had been at least partly a legal maneuver. There'd been that first brutal winter night, early in the Onanite Tempro-subsidized era, soon after the interlaced dissemination of the man who began to suspect he was made of glass, that himself emerged from the sauna and came to Lyle all sloppy, blotto, and depressed over the fact that even the bastards in the avant-garde journals were complaining that even in his commercially entertaining stuff, Incandenza's fatal Achilles heel was plot, that Incandenza's efforts had no sort of engaging plot, no movement that sucked you in and drew you along. Mario and Miss Joelle Van Dyne are probably the only people who know that found drama and anti-confluentialism both came out of this night with Lyle. It is known that, during the last 5 years of his life, Dr. James O. Incandenza liquidated his assets and patent licenses, ceded control over most of the Infield Tennis Academy's operations to his wife's half-brother, a former engineer most recently employed in amateur sports administration at Thropinghamshire Provincial College, New Brunswick, Canada, and devoted his unimpaired hours almost exclusively to the production of documentaries, technically recondite art films, and mordantly obscure and obsessive dramatic cartridges, leaving behind a substantial, given the late age at which he bloomed creatively, number of completed films and cartridges, some of which have earned a small academic following for their technical feck and for a pathos that was somehow both surreally abstract and CNS-rendingly melodramatic at the same time. Professor James O. Incandenza Jr.'s untimely suicide at 54 was held a great loss in at least 3 worlds. Or have you, for example, ever baked a potato in a microwave oven? Did you know you have to cut the potato open before you turn the oven on? Do you know why that is? Jesus. The BPD field pathologist said the buildup of internal pressures would have been almost instantaneous and equivalent in kilograms to square centimeter to over 2 sticks of TNT. Jesus Christ, Hallie. Hence the need to reconstruct the scene. Jesus. The grief therapist was now leaning way forward at the waist. His lips were wet. I was in the zone, therapeutically speaking. I felt on top of things for the first time in a long time. I broke eye contact with him. That I'd been hungry, I muttered. Come again? That's just what he said, the grief therapist. I muttered that it was nothing, just that it damn sure wasn't my fault that I had the reaction I did when I came through the front door of Headmaster's house before I came into the kitchen to get to the basement stairs and found himself with his head in what was left of the microwave. When I first came in and was still in the foyer trying to get my shoes off without putting the dirty laundry bag down on the white carpet and hopping around and couldn't be expected to have any idea what had happened, I said nobody can choose or have any control over their first unconscious thoughts or reactions when they come into a house. I said it wasn't my fault that my first unconscious thought turned out to be, Jesus, kid, what? That something smelled delicious.